Today, my guest is Dr. Viney Kirpal. I have known her for over 55 years. She is sister of my close friend and IIT batchmate GK Singh. Viney Kirpal did her MA in English from Pune University, and then she joined on the staff of Elphinstone College. In 1974, she joined IIT Bombay on the staff in the humanities department, and in 1983, she did her PhD. She has written so far 11 books, and she has contributed over 50 articles in Indian and American newspapers and magazines. In 2001, she started a non-profit for helping poor children pursue higher education, and some of those children are now engineers. She herself is a recipient of heart, and in 2025 she wrote a book about the organ transplant, and she has narrated and edited stories of 27 people who received organ transplants, and 4 of them were doctors. There are few transplant surgeons also who have contributed chapters to the book. It's a tremendous book. It's a story of courage, and some of the stories are very touching, but it gives a very detailed idea about the entire transplant operations, and a lot of people don't know about it. So this book does a great job of elucidating the entire things in the organ transplants. The book is available on Amazon India, and I would recommend or urge all the people who are watching this podcast to buy a book and read for themselves and spread the message. Now I invite her to give the details about the book as well as how she went through the transplant herself. So shall we start?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the first thing I wanted to know about is how did you come to know about how you needed a transplant, and then how did you go through it, and what were the experiences up to the transplant and thereafter of the recovery and the life after that?
So, Prashant, I got cancer at the age of 58 and a half. And the treatment for cancer, whether it was chemo and radiation, they damaged the left ventricle of my heart.
I see.
And the left ventricle is the main muscle, which pumps blood into the body. So my body was not getting adequate blood flow.
Yeah.
And as a result, they call it ejection fraction, the rate at which the heart pumps. So I was diagnosed with 16% of the ejection fraction because I was literally carried to the hospital. And the doctors felt that I wouldn't survive, but very clever cardiologist here, Dr. Priya Palimkar, she put me back on the rails, and I survived for about 6.5 years on medication, on restrictions on water intake, and the speed at which you could walk, how much distance you could walk, restrictions on climbing steps. And anyway, you couldn't do those things. But the restriction on water was really hard. For someone who loves to drink water, I was confined to 800 ml in 24 hours.
I see.
So it was a very difficult moment, but then eventually I came out of that depression. There was depression because I got a second chronic illness, but I said I can't allow myself to slip into this mode. So I got out of it and I said, what can I do? So I gave up corporate coaching, which I had done ever since I left IIT. And I started working with my NGO and the children. So, as you have already shared, it was those children who kind of motivated me to do things for them, to teach them science, to teach them technology, how to prepare for all India entrance exams, because these were children who came from very low incomes. So much so that they would have an income like 1 lakh per year, some even less.
Oh my God.
So they were all studying in a free school, and so we connected with about 4 or 5 free schools, and their teachers recommended their best students. Out of 67 that they recommended, and we took along, I specially hired teachers to teach them. I found that eventually 15 survived. Then these 15, they did their 10th standard. They did very well. One of our boys, he was bright, but once he got this extra coaching from us, and I hired very expensively paid teachers, and I found that he topped the city in the 10th standard exams, SSC as it's called here in Maharashtra. After that, I tied up with a coaching class called PACE. And PACE itself was dedicated to giving part of their teaching, coaching free. So we sent these 15 students, and they really flourished when they got the inputs at the 11th and 12th standard. Anyway, they had to do the 11th and 12th out of school, and we couldn't have provided them. So the PACE Institute took it over. But unfortunately, when COVID started, the children had to manage by studying at home. Whatever was offered online. So, as I told you about this boy who was the best, he could have gotten into an IIT, but he did the next best, he got into NIT. And he has done very well. Today he earns 23 lakhs per annum. And mind you, his father is only an electrician at 1 lakh per annum.
Okay.
So a whole generation seems to have moved on. And so it was for the others. Half of them became engineers, the remainder took to science, which also is good because that was so rare in these preschools. Nobody ever went forward after the 12th. And so this was a little thing that kept me busy till my heart kind of just gave up. In between the 6.5 years, I was hospitalized 4 times. And then came a point when I was hospitalized, the doctor tried very hard to keep my pumping up. So much so that I was all the time on IV and infusions with milrinone and so on and so forth. And this meant that both my hands were swollen. It was literally like that.
Oh.
48 hours, 72 hours, those veins were plugged in with the IV and the medicine. And finally, she told my parents that no go, please take her home. So, to cut a long story short, somehow when she proposed transplant, I knew about transplants long back, but somehow just a little before my transplant, a doctor's friend spoke and he said that, I won't advise it because you may not last for a year, more than a year. And he told my family that it can, really she will die organ by organ. So somehow that impression stuck in my head and I was very wary. But then, as my own story describes, it was really a spiritual intervention, you can say, a visitation. I have always been very spiritual, and I had a visitation where I was urged to move on and not to give up like this. So I went to Chennai, uh, and there they evaluated me. I would say that I just reached in the nick of time because on one side my artery had been blocked and they couldn't enter. From the other side, somehow they managed, and that's how I was registered for a an organ and transplant. I was, perhaps it was God's blessing, as I said, which went with me all the way. Everything worked in my favor, you can see. So much so that I got my donor organ in about 8 days, though 3 trips had been made. And there are always different reasons. And one reason was that the heart was not good. So when I finally got the news that I am being transplanted, it came as something I was waiting for, and I came out of it early morning. My recovery was, as I said, uneventful, except that after my operation, immediately I had delusions. So much so that I thought that the nurse who was looking after me was out to kill me. And that, the place was, there was a curtain. And I imagined that behind that curtain, a dead body had been brought and the heart was taken out and put into someone else. I said, my God, is this what they are doing here? All kinds of crazy things were passing through my head. So in the morning, when my brother asked, Doctor, why did she get all these delusions? He said, medicines. We
Mhm.
have given her lots of medicines and they have worked on her mind. And it's very common, it'll wear out. And it was true. Um, I was in the ICU for about 8 days, and doctors also told me that you are recovering much faster than many people. And I was out into the ward. Everything went off well, I will say, except one day before I left, someone must have entered the room at night without a mask, and I was asleep. And probably that person had a cold.
Oh,
So, in the middle of the night, I had caught a cold.
my goodness.
And yes. So, what I want to highlight is the vulnerability
Yes.
to infections. You catch it in no time.
Don't
For
know.
that, I was not allowed to leave till I had met the ENT.
Mhm.
And that was next day. And when I left, he gave me a whole lot of medicines to take.
Okay.
And I had to take 2 courses, not one. I didn't get well with one course. So that again was the other discovery that if you get an infection, it may take you longer to get better because we are on immunosuppressants
Very true.
and that suppresses our immune system.
Yeah.
And if we allow the immune system to remain active as it was normally, it would reject the donor organ as a foreign body.
Yes.
So that's
Mm.
why we were becoming very prone to infections. Um, I came back to Pune and I found that there was no one who could really help me.
Hmm.
And if I went to Dr. Priya, she would, of course, in turn send me to some specialist who kind of was more wary, too wary, I feel,
Mhm.
than required. I had a stomach upset, and the doctor put me through series of tests which were not even necessary. At the end of it, he tells me, now you wait for 4 days,
Mm.
and then we will see what's happening to you.
Mm.
And I was, so zapped. I said, after spending 12,000 rupees, and he's telling me you wait for 4 days, what do I do with my stomach? Then, I just decided, I talked with my family. They said, just relax. Take what we normally do when you have these infections.
Mhm.
Take simple diet. So I went on a dal chawal
Mm.
and dahi or tak kind of diet. And within a week, I was quite fine. So I really don't know how I got that infection. Did it come through water? Did it come through food? Or what? But I realized that every infection, I will have to go through a longer period, a tougher time, and I must find out some strategies.
Yeah.
Recovery also meant, the first year I knew was very risky because there are 95% people who survive the first year. And so that kind of always kept me on edge
Yeah.
that,
Mm.
I could get an infection, I could get rejected.
Yeah.
But I I find with passage of time that it's not so hard.
Yeah.
It's you get used to the system, the body gets used to the organ, and you start living.
Yeah.
Today, I almost forget that I am transplanted,
Yeah.
unless I consciously tell someone because I wear a mask when I'm talking
Yeah.
to people.
Yeah. So I think the transplant people who have gone through organ transplant, they require a lot of aftercare and family help to sort of face the whole ordeal.
First year, yes, because you don't know much about transplant. And what you read on the net is sometimes so frightening
Very
that
true.
I feel we should not read that at all.
Mm.
In fact, this book should give them qualitative research.
Yeah.
It's not a study which Americans would call scientific, but at the same time, there is also a sociological, a psychological, or real time research when you take stories from people. And sociology normally has such studies. So I would call it qualitative research. And you will find that even though people went through ups and downs, initially, yes, we did need care. I stay alone, Prashant.
Yeah.
So I had my servants with me, and I didn't have too many problems actually.
Okay.
So I did go after 6 months to get myself checked up to the city where I was transplanted. And also, I had stayed on 3 months in that city. I was getting regularly checked up, and only when they and I felt confident, I left Chennai. And 6 months later, I found that I was quite all right, except this worry about infections
Yes.
and all that. Luckily, in my family, my brother-in-law has been transplanted with a liver.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and that's about 19 years now.
Okay. Okay.
So he was a good example to me, and I would often look at him and say, "Well, he looks normal. He leads his life normal. Why can't I? I'm sure I will also live
Yeah.
normally."
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
So,
the other thing I wanted to know is how did the idea of writing this book come to you? And what was the motivation and how did you, because it's a lot of effort. So,
well, I'll give many people the credit. They really supported me through this journey. The writers, there were friends. We belong to what's called a WhatsApp group, support group.
okay.
That's a heart group. I started with them. I used to read their stories. There were people who were going into sports. They would post pictures,
Yeah.
and there were marathon runners, and
Yeah.
that really, yeah, and that's quite normal, I find. If you have been doing sports earlier, you'll do it later on also.
Yes.
Recently, we have our 60s, I mean, a big contingent from India went to Germany to participate in the transplant games,
Yes.
which are held annually now. And they got 67 medals back.
Yeah.
So small feat. So
Yeah.
that was one thing. Then I found that uh, many of them would celebrate their anniversary. So there were people who said, "We have completed 7 years, 8 years." And that really emboldened me.
Yeah.
I said, "Come on, now what is this misconception that goes around?" First of all, the insurance turned me down for four of them, and I was really irritated with them.
Mm.
I asked them for reasons they had none, only guidelines would
Mhm.
answer. And finally, I fought it out with them and I got an insurance. I said, "Here is my reports. I'm doing very well, and give it to me on a case to case basis." So they gave it to me. And this is something I find very peculiar, that everyone after transplant who has approached insurance companies has been turned down very rudely, very
Oh.
rudely.
Oh.
They'll tell you no one will give you an insurance policy. And
Yeah.
I remember telling the agent, I said, "You don't know me. I will get this insurance."
Yeah.
policy.
So that
Because I
that sort of brings out the activists in you.
Yes, I am. I am an activist. You're
Yeah.
right. Uh, so I was determined to bring this out in the book. And as I said, there were several examples around me. So I posted a message, would you like to contribute to this book? And I found many turning in to say yes. So that was the beginning. Then I decided to move on to other organs.
Mm.
And there was a heart and lung group. Then there was a kidney group. Then I found some liver groups.
Yeah.
Although liver support groups, I couldn't find many.
Hmm.
Uh, there was one in Delhi with 600 members. We wrote to them, but no one answered.
I see.
But
I see.
this was through posting messages on the WhatsApp groups that I got the people who are transplanted with liver. In fact, one of those is a doctor, and she has given birth to a baby girl in February.
Yeah, that's
Now,
nice.
this is quite an amazing event
Yeah.
because you are on immunosuppressants.
Yes.
You can't be taking injections, and yet this lady, she has born a baby,
Oh,
and the baby is
that's
five, six
amazing.
months old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are examples that I wanted to showcase that the
Yeah.
reality is very different, and obviously to shame
Yeah.
the insurances that are denying us, and also I wanted to correct the perception in the minds of the public.
Yeah.
It's not, we don't lead lives sitting in the hospitals. We are
Yeah.
quite all right and
Yes.
very grateful that we are through with that bad phase
Yeah.
of ill health.
Yeah. So I read all 27 stories, and some of them are truly amazing, like this
Yes.
Anil Srivat's, who
He's a live donor.
okay, and he traveled to 60 countries, and he's formed a foundation, and he has taken part in the transplant games and won medals. So each story is very inspiring, touching, and sort of stories of strength and courage, standing up
Yes.
to these problems.
He has won a gold this time also.
Okay, okay,
And he has given his kidney to his brother, who's a
okay,
neurosurgeon, Arjun. He's also given his story in the book. And Arjun also wins medals.
okay,
He's a
okay.
golfer.
Okay.
So
So when we talk of transplants, there are these main four categories: heart, lung, kidney, and liver. So
there is
how
pancreas
pancreas
also.
also? Yeah,
I
yeah,
couldn't go to that
yeah, yeah,
group. I have no idea.
yeah.
It's not very
So
common.
so how different are these each of these, or in terms of complexity, or in terms of other aspects involved?
First of all, you'll find that kidney are the maximum recipients,
Yes.
and also transplants because they don't wait for cadaver
Yeah.
transplant organs. They just go in for living
Living
donors,
donors. Yes.
and most of them come from the family.
Yeah.
Similarly, with liver
Mm.
transplant,
Yeah.
half a liver can be donated. So when it comes to children, as Dr. Rela's interview tells us, parents are willing to give,
Yeah.
and it could include men and women. Then when it comes to uh, husbands, invariably the wives come forward
Yeah.
and give their half a liver or the kidney.
Mm.
At the same time, heart and lungs are rarer.
Yeah.
Although there's a large number of them in the waiting list, and perhaps many are undiagnosed and
Mm.
don't even know they need a transplant,
Yeah.
unaware. So the waiting list could be higher. And these are the most risky interventions and most delicate. In the heart, as I said, that you start feeling the pumping goes down, so your entire life gets limited. you tend to collect water in your body, and you become breathless.
Yes.
So I was, as I said, hospitalized 4 times because I would become breathless
Yeah.
and my ejection fraction would fall. With lungs. And here I would say that every organ has its own human story. Or lungs are really, I find it very sad, that they have to suffer so much because very often they are carrying all those tubes of oxygen cylinders around the house as they move.
Yes.
And many of them are not even at fault. It could be just pigeon poo, which has from
Yes.
the air,
I read that, and it's astonishing.
yeah, which could have caused them this ailment. And in fact, people just don't understand. They are still feeding pigeons.
Yeah.
They just don't understand that they are harming the environment and people around them, perhaps them or their own selves.
Yeah.
So Uh, kidneys, most of them fail because of diabetes.
Yeah.
As you know, we are number one diabetes,
Country in the
patient.
world. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, highest.
Yeah.
And and that is why 85% of the transplants are kidney
Okay.
transplants.
Okay.
And liver transplants usually are alcoholics, usually.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes they get it from hepatitis C.
Yeah.
That's also there, and there could be other reasons.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I was also reading through that reaching the heart or the organ in time to for a transplant is a huge task, and generally from the taking out the heart from a cadaver to implanting it, the whole duration is only 4 hours.
Four to
And
six hours maximum.
yeah, and
Mm.
Chennai has done a great job of green corridor, and it has been recognized the world over, I think.
So
And
that was the brainchild of a police commissioner,
okay,
and my surgeon, Dr. Balakrishnan,
yeah,
had a role to play in it.
yeah,
I asked him,
yeah,
and he said it was a police commissioner. What he wanted to say was that some of the government officers
yeah,
are very good and
yes,
very
absolutely,
receptive to ideas.
yeah,
And that he was, so this green corridor is a fascinating idea. And all the traffic is kept on hold. All
yes,
the signals are red for the others, and it's green for the ambulance that carries the donor organ.
yeah,
I always have the image of a royalty traveling,
yeah,
when it's traveling in a box, and when it comes, the way it is rushed by the
yes,
staff
yeah,
up to the operation theater, because a patient like me could be on a heart lung machine.
yeah,
The heart would have already, the original heart might already have been excavated, and this
yes,
organ is being rushed to me. And the
yeah,
moment it comes, they start fixing it. So
yes,
they waste no time. This is, of course, if it is in the same city or
yeah,
nearby, but it could also mean flying out an organ.
yes, yes. I
And
I
you
read
read
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now from Kashmir to Kanyakumari,
Mhm.
that's it. You can take an organ anywhere to anywhere.
Yeah.
It's the kind of clearance that has been given by the government. And I believe that NOTO, that's the
Yes.
organ
Don't know.
plant organization, and Niti Ayog,
Okay.
both have a big role to play in that.
Yeah. The other thing is, what I find on the India's transplant scene, there are
Mm.
only two cities which have played a major role, Hyderabad and Chennai.
Very
And
true.
it needs to, develop at many other centers. And also, not only the transplant, the aftercare requires specialized help. So that infrastructure also needs to develop.
Absolutely. In fact, that's what I've been talking about quite a lot. That why are the transplant centers dependent on individual doctors who happen to be
Yeah.
very passionate
Yeah.
about making a difference through this technology?
Yeah.
They have taken it their mission to saving lives to a certain pinnacle, I will say. I mean, these are people, transplant doctors in centers which are really good, like Chennai, Hyderabad. They don't sleep,
Yeah.
literally, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are transplanting patients back to back, two, three in a row.
Yeah.
And most of the transplants occur at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is quite a challenge. But, and this is something disturbing that there are no post-transplant management centers.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We have to, even for the transplant, like I had to relocate to Chennai, which meant taking a house on rent, taking people with me. You stay there, there's extra cost, there's no family support. My family kept coming and going, my friends kept coming and going, staying with me. But if you are in the same city, it's different. And the strain on those who are with you is also different, you know.
Yeah.
So, that also
The
adds to the costs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the other thing I wanted to talk about is, there are 150,000 traffic related deaths in the country, yet the number of donations are so few. And it
Yeah.
has to do a lot with the thinking of people, and that needs to change.
It's changing, but it's taking its time. And I think now the government is pushing it quite aggressively, especially the present NOTO director, medical director. And there has been a circular which has been sent out that all medical colleges, all, they have usually they have a hospital that they have to excavate donor organs.
Yeah, there are
So
some
there,
countries which where it is not left to sometimes the person who is dead, he has no objection, but his family members have the objection. And then there are countries like Singapore where if you have not specifically said it will not be harvested, it can be harvested.
so in India, it's a democratic
Yeah, I
setup.
know.
You know,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
don't like anything thrust down their throats,
yeah, yeah.
and it will. But at that point, you know, when brain death has to occur.
Yes, yes.
Brain death itself is a concept that people don't understand.
Yeah, and that
They,
was the starting point for the organ transplant in India when it was legally
legally.
defined that the death is brain death. Yeah.
So, Dr. Venu Gopal, he was the first one who transplanted after the act and
Okay.
passage of that law. Although there was another gentleman, Dr. Sen, who transplanted a heart and was arrested because
Oh,
he didn't have the permissions.
my goodness.
Yeah. So, this uh, this is a fact, and now what happens is that anywhere death happens, there are counselors, there are coordinators, there are doctors who explain to them that unfortunately your patient now cannot be revived because he is brain dead, and many of the people don't understand what is brain death. They can't accept it because anyway there's a lot of grief, and
Yeah,
many of these people who die in accidents are also young.
yeah, yeah.
They are
Very true.
youngsters who
Very
don't
true.
wear a helmet. Okay.
Yeah,
So, yeah. So, the family can't accept it. And at that time, you tell them to donate. They say, but I can see his heart is beating because the person is on a ventilator.
yeah,
At that time, they have to be explained that the brain is dead. It will not function. You can keep this person on a ventilator for days on end. Even the organs will start dying gradually.
yeah,
And the brain is dead. It will not revive the person. So
yeah,
people have to understand that when your near one is brain dead, nothing can save him.
yeah,
And now they are trying to make it known. So hopefully, I think in the coming 5 or 6 years, you will see a lot of change in organ donations. There are more awareness camps. And I feel they should even hold contests in companies and in colleges that who can get the maximum pledges
Yeah.
to donor organ.
Yeah.
Once they've said yes, then it's easier. Although you are right that the family in India has the last say.
Yeah.
And an
So,
uncle can just intervene and say, no, I will not allow this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we could talk for hours, but I think gradually we are coming to an end. I wanted to ask one, important question: how expensive it is? Because for organ transplant, it's quite expensive, both up to the transplant and thereafter.
It's very expensive because you spend anything between 12 lakhs for a kidney to 25 to 30 lakhs. If complications develop, it could go to any amount, like even 1 crore.
Oh,
So transplant surgery is very expensive because it's not supported by the government at any point. They feel that if you want to go to quality hospitals, you can spend on your own. They believe that transplant is something undertaken by people who are well-to-do, which is
mhm.
not the case. Most of us have borrowed money. I sold off a flat. There are others who have sold off land, a house. They borrowed extensively, and not just for the surgery, but post-surgery. There is no healthcare support.
Yeah.
Insurance will not give it to you. It even downgrades those who have got an insurance. For
Yeah.
example, I didn't have an insurance. Mine was very nominal
Mm.
when I got the heart failure, and then this gives more challenges to us because every year we need for medicines and for the tests that we undergo at least 2 to 3 lakhs.
Mhm.
So you have to provide all that. Now, everybody cannot provide that. The very rich, I'm sure, go abroad. They don't stay in India. This conception that the rich get transplanted is quite misplaced.
Mhm.
So we do it only to save our lives, frankly.
Mhm.
And then there are people who have children. It's not just that you get one child transplanted or the husband or wife transplanted. There are other children whose education
Yeah.
is waiting to be paid for. So it is a very expensive process because we don't have healthcare in India for transplants is not being supported.
Yeah. So is a lot of crowdfunding taking place?
Yes, people do go to crowdfunding and they borrow a lot. As I told you, we sell off whatever we can, use your savings.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing lifelong
Right. Right. Yeah. Mm.
cost.
Yeah.
That's where we feel that government should help us and
Yeah.
insurances should also support us.
Yeah. Two interesting things I saw in the book and while reading about it elsewhere. One is that the you had mentioned, I think Prime Minister Modi had sort of talked about a case where a 39-day-old baby became a donor.
Yes.
And the internationally, the lowest is some 74 minutes or something. Such a young baby also, they probably knew that she is not going to, I mean, she or he is not going to survive. And so they went ahead with the donation. So that was one very, uh,
Recently, there was a case of a stillborn baby's mother donating that baby's organs,
okay,
stillborn child.
stillborn. Oh, okay.
So that has broken the 74-minute record also.
Okay, okay. Yeah. And then in India, I think there is also a case which you have mentioned about the longest surviving, which is 24 years. The transplant patient has, I mean, so far she's okay. So that has been the, I think, the longest surviving
Yeah.
transplant case.
Yeah. January coming, she will complete 25 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Her story is given in the book.
yeah,
And I think that should be an eye-opener to many people.
yes,
That
yes,
that recipients are not living on the edge of life.
yes,
They are very
absolutely,
much
absolutely.
thriving.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah,
all, in fact, people were denied jobs in the earlier stages, you know.
yeah,
There
yeah,
are quite a few people who were denied jobs. They have become entrepreneurs,
yeah.
which is very spirited of them, I think.
Very true, very true. Yeah, so one last question. So, what was your objective behind writing this book?
My objective was to show that don't fear transplants. We do very well. And don't think that we are living all the time on hospital beds, and that nobody should give such false excuses if they want to deny us health care. And thirdly, live king size, don't worry at all.
Yeah.
And because even I lived in a lot of fear the
Yeah,
first
I think because
couple of years.
it's very natural that a thing like this, people will have a lot of apprehension, a lot of worries, and to it's the positivity spirit which sort of makes you life very livable.
Also, when doctors tell us that your quality of life will improve, we tend not to believe them because you
Yeah,
think they are going to. And we tend to believe the public, which says, you know, it doesn't work
yeah,
and you will only waste money, you
yeah,
will be bled
yeah,
for your funds.
yeah,
So I wanted to correct that perception also because I have recently come across a few patients who are like me. Day
yeah,
three, should we
yeah,
go in for a transplant or not? Some waiting for their child to grow up. They don't have the time and
yeah,
they don't realize that
yeah,
the later you go, the worse the outcome.
yeah, yeah. So, really, it has been a wonderful session. Thank you very much for your time. And
Thank you so much,
yeah,
Prashant, for
yeah, yeah,
spending so much time
yeah.
giving me this
It is,
opportunity.
it's my pleasure. Thank you.